Shabbat Shalom. We shared briefly at the beginning of our service how incredible it has been to get to know a very special colleague of ours in Israel. Rabbi Miriam Klimova joins us as part of the Golden Hanasi Fellowship Program, established by Temple Israel congregants Suzanne and John Golden. The fellowship places HUCJIR Israeli rabbinical students and recent alumni in residency here in the States for two-week periods of time. It's only been since last Thursday that we've known each other, but we have quickly become fast friends, experiencing Jewish life here in West Palm Beach together. Our friend Rabbi Miriam Klimova was born and raised in Ukraine and Poland. She grew up in a Reform congregation where she was active in her community. She worked in the Warsaw Reform community as a prayer leader and studied Judaism there. In 2017, Rabbi Klimova made Aliyah to Israel and was ordained as a rabbi from HUC in November of 2023. You can imagine, in November of 2023, what it meant for the Reform movement to ordain three wonderful, beautiful rabbis in the land of Israel at a moment of such incredible trauma and sadness. You represent the light of Israeli leadership today and moving forward. Since 2020, Rabbi Klimova has served as the spiritual leader of Shirat Hayam, a congregation of Russian and Ukrainian-speaking Israelis in Haifa. Miriam is passionate about the agadic stories of the Talmud, loves singing, as we heard tonight, and writes poetry in Hebrew, a gift for you to become a friend and now our teacher tonight.
Shabbat Shalom. I want to start from a question. When we meet a new person, what is the first thing we notice? Do we look at gender, age, clothing, or maybe we notice their voice or accent? But the deeper question is whether we truly know how to see what matters. Do our first impressions help us understand each other, or do they sometimes blur our vision and trap us in stereotypes? In the middle of this week's Torah portion, Hayei Sarah, the life of Sarah, between the story of Sarah's death and the story of Abraham's death, the Torah tells us a magnificent story, the journey of Abraham's servant searching for a wife for Isaac, and the moment we first meet Rebekah. For Abraham, it is extremely important that his son Isaac marry a woman from Abraham's homeland, meaning from his large family that stayed in the land from which he came. Even more important for Abraham is that Isaac continued to live in the land of Israel. And if the young woman does not agree to come to the land of Canaan, then the servant will be free from the mission. In many ways, we could call this parasha Hayei Rivka, the life of Rebekah. She is the first woman in the Torah whose life is described from childhood through old age. She acts quickly, generously, and bravely. She runs again and again to draw water, not only for Abraham's servant, but for 10 camels. She invites him to her home. She shows strength compassion, and clarity. And then comes an extraordinary moment when her family understands that this marriage is meant to be. They still pause and say, "Let us call the girl and ask for her reply." 3 men wait for her answer. And that answer will determine the continuation of Abraham's lineage. They ask her, "Will you go with this man?" And she replies simply, "Elech, I will go." Rebecca, not her family, chose her own path. She decides to leave her home and everything familiar, to travel to a new place and to live with a man she has never met. Her decision to leave her land and her family reminds us of Abraham, who left everything behind to follow a divine call. The Midrash adds her words, "I will go even against your will." And the Halakha learns from here that even if parents oppose their children's moving to the land of Israel, as Rebecca was about to do, the children are not obligated to obey. Rebecca walks toward an unknown future. And I want to tell you, I have met Rebecca many times in my life. Rebecca is an Ola Chadasha, a new Israeli. I have met Ruth, whose actions remind us of Rebecca, the woman who leaves her father and mother and her land to follow Naomi to Eretz Israel. Rebecca and Ruth live in my congregation, Shirat Hayam in Haifa, the Reform community for Russian and Ukrainian-speaking Olim, where I have served for more than 5 years. I have also met Joshua bin Nun, the one who also made Aliyah. Today he is a board member of our congregation, an engineer and a reserve major in the IDF. On October 7, he went to the south of Israel to defend his brothers and sisters. His oldest daughter sat that day sewing a button onto his torn uniform with tears in her eyes. She already knows what war means because her grandparents live near the war zone in eastern Ukraine, where the war has continued for almost 4 years. Next month, this girl, she will join the IDF in December. And 5 other young people from our community already serve and protect Israel. Their parents carry a quiet echo of Abraham's pain, the fear of sending what is the most precious into danger. Rebecca, Ruth, Joshua, Abraham, none of them were born in Israel. All of them surely spoke with accents, just like Chaim Nachman Balik, Leah Goldberg, Rachel, and also Hannah Senesh, who wrote her famous poem with mistake. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam. Olam, she wrote with Aleph instead Ayin. Their accents and imperfections never made them less a part of the people of Israel. Today, Russian-speaking Israelis make up around 15% of the country's population. The Israeli Reform movement includes 54 communities, and in recent years, IMPJ has invested serious effort and love into supporting immigrant communities. Among these 54, there are 3 communities of Russian and Ukrainian-speaking Olim. nearly 30% of Haifa, represents our Russian-speaking Israelis. And Shirat Hayam is the only liberal Olim congregation in the entire north of Israel. Our members live from Caesarea to Nahariya. We are a community where people find friends who understand them, where no one needs to hide their accents or their worldview, where sincere seekers can convert through learning and meaning, not through boundaries and fear. In our sanctuary, you will meet people who came to Israel 30 years ago and people who made Aliyah 3 weeks ago. Someone chose Haifa specifically so they could live near the congregation. They are Israelis, people who were not born into this difficult reality but chose it. And even after 2 years of terrible war, they continue choosing it every single day. They are doctors and cleaners, university lecturers and factory workers, engineers, caregivers, high-tech professionals, and many more, all equally important, so different that they might never have met anywhere else except this congregation, so similar in their courage, in their journeys, and in their tears that they have faced. Rabbi Abraham Yehoshua Heschel said, "When I was young, I admired cleverness. Now, when I'm old, I admire kindness." And this parasha tells us about Rebecca and tells us that Rebecca was beautiful. But her beauty was the beauty of her actions. The servant was moved not by her appearance, but by her heart. And here, in Temple Israel, I have felt that same beauty, the beauty of kindness, not only in this inspiring space, but in the warmth of people, in the sincerity and openness with which you welcomed me. I have felt the deep friendship of Rabbi Scarley and Rabbi Ryan, and I'm proudly grateful to Hebrew Union College and to John and to Susan Golden, whose vision created the fellowship that brought me here, allowed me to learn and to connect our communities. I grew up in Lviv, the heart of Galicia. I decided I want to become a rabbi when I was 15 because my community had no rabbi. And I try every day to be the kind of rabbi I needed when I first arrived to Israel. In our parasha, when Rebecca sees Isaac for the first time, she falls from her camel. ותיפול מעל הגמל. In modern Hebrew slang, this would be called fadicha. Fadicha is an embarrassing moment. I want to be a person standing next to her saying, "It's okay. Don't worry. Get up, keep going." And today, as the Israeli reform movement moves from crisis toward renewal after 2 years of war, that message feels more important than ever. Even when we fall, we raise, we rebuild, we walk together. And so I return to my opening question. When we meet someone new, what do we see first? Maybe learn to see not accent, gender, or age, but the courage of their journey and the beauty of their choices. May God grant us true sight Baruch Pokeach Ivrim, blessed who gives sight to the blind, so that we might recognize the hidden beauty of every person. And may we continue to walk beside every newcomer, every Rebecca, every person building a new chapter. And may we continue walking together with the shared promise. We will keep supporting one another. We will keep building the future of the state of Israel and the future of the Jewish people in every corner of the world. And we will keep choosing hope, tikva, together, beyachad. Shabbat shalom.